Just doing some background prep. Are you being serious? Okay, good. What's top of your list? Just for today. Vox, did you get consent? All right, just a couple more minutes, guys. I'll be ready. Did you get consent to slide into chat? Okay. What's going on, everybody? My couple everybody's. The IRS pinky swearing they'll never audit or investigate Trump or his family ever again. Oh, I didn't catch that one. What do you mean settle for $1.8 billion? It's a fund. You didn't settle. So I've been missing a lot of this story. So, oh my God, I didn't even realize that. That's insane. 1776, my God. Oh. So he dropped his lawsuit, but okay, great. But then just set up a fund to pay himself? And my audio and video out of sync? Well, dang. Let me try resetting my audio at least. All right, check. How's that? I mean, I'll reboot my camera too. All right, there we go. Hopefully that's better. Government was about to shut down the lawsuit for $10 billion, but then the DOJ settled with Trump's lawsuit for the $1.776 billion. Yeah, I'm gonna need to review this more closely. So something about settling, and a committee will be set up to determine who gets paid out, and it's to be for everyone who's been harmed by the IRS and document releases or something. Demonstrate harm, but then, you know, if it's your department, your standards, then I guess you don't really have to prove anything, huh? I'm no nothing attorney. I know nothing, so you can too, because it's only in embracing that we know nothing that we can actually learn anything. That's what I aim to do every time I'm here live with you guys. I hope that I can learn from you, and I hope you can learn along with me. We live in a shit show. It is great. I recommend, if y'all don't watch some more news, I recommend some more news and their segment. Oh, I guess it's tomorrow. A subscriber. Yeah, they're gonna have a segment tomorrow or a video on MAGA rats jumping ship. It's all about the people who promoted and lifted MAGA and how they're all realizing, or at least coming to the conclusion, that Trump's not going to be there in a few years, and it's all going to become a contest of who hated him more, who supported him least. So they're all burning everything down around them. So at least that's nice to watch. Like Tucker. Right before stream, this is out of nowhere. Right before stream, I got yet another, I'm joking here, but yet another lecture from my girlfriend about how I need to be a Freemason because my grandfather was, so it'd be easier for me to get in. What do you guys think? Should I be a Freemason? I don't know why I would want to. It sounds boring. Expensive Mason. Quality Mason, I prefer to say. Your grandmother's Eastern Star. Not familiar with Eastern Star. Do you want to be in Texas state level law enforcement? What does that have to do with Freemasons? Now I'm intrigued. Okay. I have to look at this article that Maddie linked. It's killing me. Eastern Star is like the women's auxiliary group, but guys can join too. Apparently the only way to get anywhere in state level law enforcement is to be a Mason? Really? What do you mean by state level law enforcement? Okay. Okay. Huh. Well, here I was assuming it was going to be a bunch of old dudes, but now I'm really concerned that the younger dudes are not people that I want to be around. So, But I am in law enforcement. I'm a lawyer. And I teach people about the laws, which helps enforce them. Mason's just old guys club? Yeah. Source, a buddy of mine who is a Mason and was pursuing being a trooper and whatnot. Light Spectre on YouTube chat. We all dudes. I'm a dude. He's a dude. She's a dude. We're all dudes. Better to be a lawyer than a lawyee. Dude! Sweet! My friend and I tried rewatching that movie recently. She bailed like a quarter of the way through it. I was like, I don't know why, but I sat here, sat through the whole thing, and I don't know why I did. It's terrible. That's Dude, Where's My Car? Just the worst. Oh, by the way, Know Nothing's movie review corner. The Sheep Detectives. Fantastic movie. Oh my god, my tongue is got Thai tea on it. It looked cute. I was like, great, like good kids movie to take my daughter to. It's a good friggin' movie. It's like I'd say a pretty legitimate murder mystery. I solved it in 15 minutes, and then later on in the movie, my girlfriend was like, "Wait, you were serious?" 15 minutes is a little bit of an exaggeration. They have to set everything up first. Oh, I watched Babe this weekend too. You should see Project Hail Mary. But you've been watching it in YouTube Shorts? What do you mean? You watching the whole movie bit by bit on YouTube Shorts? By the way, guys, I keep remembering and then forgetting to say, I'm starting, like, as of like 4 o'clock this afternoon, I'm starting to feel sick. So if things spiral, don't know if I'm going to be able to keep it up tonight. If I cut it early, I'll try to do another stream later this week. The farmer from Babe is a Black Panther member? The actor is? I've definitely noticed some movies having literally dozens of shorts that add up to basically the whole film. What, like K-pop Demon Hunter? He's a Black Panther? That's rad. No, I can't say I have, Vox. I don't watch YouTube Shorts. My daughter texts me YouTube Shorts all the freaking time. I can't. Anytime I see something like vertical, I'm just like, please, no. I'm just moving on. That massive storm. Shoot, I was gonna say something. Cheap Detective, trying to see if there was anything else I had left to say. Like, my daughter, my girlfriend, and I all really enjoyed it. Made both of the adults cry. It was rough. It was very, very good. We also watched Polly. We watched Polly and Babe in the past week. I'm in Texas. So many good users. Yeah, we all use in here. Okay, now let's look at that article that Maddie shared. If you want family movie recommendations, like what? Grew up outside the Dallas area? I'm sorry. Nothing out there. Yeah, much better in Colorado. Secondhand Lions. I remember hearing about it when it came out. What's in the recommendation, Maddie? Here, I just want to... I'm feeling spicy in a specific way today, so I'm gonna do something real quick. Ever hear of a town called Wiley? No. Can't say I have. Okay, there we go. Let's... Can I center that, please? Center, thank you. Let's take that over here. Cool. Just gonna be very specifically spicy. Need to change how that's structured. There we go. Better. There. Nice. There we go. All right. Now to the article. Nope, that's not the one. There we go. How are you guys doing today? I don't feel like I've heard anybody talk about how they're feeling. What's going on in their lives? What's up? If you need a token trans person as backup, let me know. Ah, love to. Still tired? Oh. You've been going through it, Maddie. Vox, I don't know if I've talked about it while you've been in here. Oh, Frank, sorry, I skipped over your message. Maybe it's more of a series thing than a movie thing. The biggest examples I can think of are Reddington and Goliath. But for movies, I've definitely seen most of Hidden Figures and Temple Grandin as shorts. I don't know any of those movies. I don't know any of those movies. I know Legends of the Hidden Temple. It's getting close to the words you said. I really wanted to be on Legends of the Hidden Temple. Your mom walked 10 feet this week? Hell yeah. All right. Okay. Let's look at the stupidity our country is now going through. Oh, I was saying, Vox, I don't know if I've talked to you about it before, but honestly, the subject that got me down the path to doing what I'm doing right now and even being a lefty all started with trans advocacy online. That's how I stopped being a conservative, is I just kind of fell down the rabbit hole of arguing with stupid people on my own side of the fence who didn't know what they were talking about, and eventually reasoned my way to, oh, nobody on this side of the fence knows anything about what they're talking about. Hidden Figures is about the black woman that saved NASA's butts during the space race. Oh, well, now I look like an asshole. Temple Grandin is a biopic about an autistic woman who went on to become a huge figure in configuring cattle? What? Reddington is James Spader, a wanted criminal who has been sort of caught. I think I've seen everything but the initial premise. Goliath is Billy Bob Thornton as an anti-pharmacy lawyer. Oh. Well, I could watch a lawyer movie. How to better treat them in the ranch transportation process. Configuring cattle. Well, you know, tell me your epistemology. My epistemology is hold no position until you have sufficient evidence to support one, and be willing to change your mind when the evidence outweighs your current position. I look like a John. Who's the working person? I ironically used to be fairly conservative, more libertarian, but deaf-leaning conservative, so I sometimes have unique ways of approaching the debates. You know, there's something to be said about libertarians, and I'm usually a big asshole when it comes to libertarians. But you know, I have to remember that there was a time where I called myself a libertarian too, and I think there is a subset of libertarians that are trained conservatives who have realized they don't like conservatism, so they embrace the idea of social what was that? Social progressivism. Because then that's the part of them that's going, wait, I don't want to be an asshole. It used to be kind of lefty libertarian until the righty libertarians turned out to be 95% fascists. Or like tech bros, or like billionaire worshippers. Basically, she changed how cattle are treated and how they're transported and treated on their way through the meatpacking process. That is so extremely specific. I participated in the Open Carry Texas movement back in the day, which sounds like, it sounds weird. Okay. U.S. Justice Department forever bars IRS from auditing Trump's past tax returns, from The Guardian. Justice Department quietly added a provision barring the IRS from auditing Donald Trump's tax returns on Tuesday, amending a widely criticized agreement that creates a secretive and loosely controlled how are you even supposed to say this? 1.1776 billion? That's how autistics do. Sure. 1.1776 billion fund to compensate allies of the president. Wow. That's the kind of reporting I love, The Guardian. Thank you. Thank you. Just fucking say it how it is. Don't waffle. The addendum signed by Todd Blanche, the acting attorney general, says the government is forever barred and precluded from examining the tax returns of Trump, his family, company, and related companies. The agreement applies to anything filed before the agreement was reached. It was posted on the Justice Department website on Tuesday morning, a day after the department announced creation of the fund. I think I need to get into this article first. Justice Department announced on Monday it was creating a loosely controlled and secretive $1.1776 billion fund to compensate Donald Trump allies as part of an agreement in which the president and his sons dropped a $10 billion long-shot lawsuit against the IRS. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything binding about this, that the government can't just turn around and change their mind in 3 years. The money, which critics said was essentially a slush fund, will be overseen by 5 commissioners, 4 of whom would be appointed by the Attorney General and removable by Trump, who would oversee the body's work. A 5th commissioner will be appointed in consultation with congressional leadership. The fund also has the power to issue formal apologies. It's so pathetic. It's so pathetic. Donald Trump apologizes to himself. Hard to change their minds if the fund is all spent by then. I'm specifically talking about the amendment. The addendum? Amendment? Addendum? Addendum. I'm specifically talking about the addendum that says that they can't investigate Trump's tax returns. The issue is that Trump acts like that's not an issue. Acts like what's not an issue? The issue is that he acts like... Well, if it weren't an issue, he wouldn't have to do it at all. If he were so confident that he would never leave the White House, then he wouldn't need to have that addendum. I mean, I guess it is an addendum. The money, which critics said was essentially a slush fund, will be overseen by 5 commissioners. Oh, read that part. The fund also has the power to issue formal apologies and will send a quarterly confidential report to the U.S. Attorney General outlining who has been paid from the fund. A confidential report. There's no requirement that the fund's work be made public. Based on what? Based on what? These executive functions only have the authority, like, they only have the authority that Congress gives them. Beyond what the Constitution gives them. The Constitution didn't give them this power. Do you like Nick Shirley's work? Is Nick Shirley, how's that, any of that legal? Some guy exposing fraud? Wait, Nick Shirley, is that the... This is not the right window. I didn't want this in this window to begin with. Well, give me a second here. Swoop. There we go. That's better. Nick Land. Is Nick Shirley the freaking Minnesota Somalian thing? Yeah, Minnesota fraud kid. The poor kid who got taken advantage of by fraudsters in the U.S. government. Yeah, poor kid. Went to a bunch of daycares when they were closed and claimed it was proof of fraud. Yeah. I mean, beyond all reasonability, let's assume for a moment that everything that Nick Shirley found was legitimate fraud. Like, great, but it was used. What's the word I'm looking for? God, I can't think right now. I'm getting sick. It was used inappropriately by the powers that be to withhold a bunch of Medicaid funds from the state of Minnesota, who has vastly lower Medicaid fraud than most U.S. states. I've forgotten the statistic, but it's a pretty good statistic for Minnesota. And now Minnesotans are getting fucked over because of what Nick Shirley did. And not only did he do what he did and get taken advantage of for it, he also didn't report it. He just threw it up on YouTube. So he's kind of a dick. No. Beyond all reasonability, the fraud rate in Minnesota is extremely low. And the fraud rate of Medicaid in general is extremely low. And the amount that is improperly taken, the majority of that does get reclaimed by the government. Oh no, there's fraud. Yes, people will commit crimes. Actually, I don't know how the Minnesota thing is an example of like governmental fraud. How is that? If you try to give the government money to solve homelessness like in California, guess where it goes? To NGOs. Okay. Trump administration will use one real or even made up incident to target and harm the entire group. But if you're giving federal dollars to a state to run programs, and those programs then use the federal dollars, they then have to substantiate how those dollars are used. As somebody who works in Medicaid, what are you talking about? Eating the cats and dogs? The Trump administration will use one real or even made up incident to target and harm the entire group. Yeah, like what's a good example? The Trump administration would take like a kid, what is it? A kid sneaking their phone into school to kneecap a kid. Like that's the equivalent. Like a minor offense, and they'll just like, oh, sorry, you're just dead now. And there are people that will die because of this. It's not great. Just another way that the Trump administration is killing random civilians. That one guy who murdered that one woman, then the Trump administration used that to target all immigrants. You're talking about like the Laken Riley Act? Yeah, it's fucking bullshit. Means testing has always been the same thing. It's definitely not unique to Trump. What do you mean means testing? Oh, okay. We're just on a different subject now. Okay. So you just love Medicaid being taken away from people in blue states, huh? You must love school lunches being taken away, too. You want to punish people for being poor, huh? The apparatus to make sure that no one is committing fraud against social programs costs way, way more than the amount of fraud that happens. Yeah. Go figure. I mean, otherwise the fraud would be more. So like it's not like wasted cost. Anyone using the term cucked is like the best way for me to not take them seriously. Yeah, for sure. Someone doesn't want to look like they have a good point. Okay, there did not appear to be any restrictions on who can seek compensation from the fund. A copy of the agreement released on Monday evening says that the claims will be evaluated based on a number of factors, including the strength of the claim and supporting evidence of the claimant's actions, any time the person making the claim spent in prison, attorney's fees, and other factors that the anti-weaponization fund deems just and appropriate. Oh, good. Good. I like when there are just like no solid factors at all. I also saw something that said lawfare, like it was like an actual word. I think they like used it officially. I'm almost certain using a broader phrase than I should, though. I don't know the narrower phrase for it. Let's ignore that Nick Shirley was purely a talking piece for the MAGA party. Yeah, like the kid was literally taken advantage of. He was led around by a guy whose name he didn't even remember. Oh, I know. I mean, it's been longer than that, Maddie. But like, for the DOJ to be using the term lawfare to describe what they are targeting, what they're trying to act on, that's not great. It's low-hanging fruit, Vox. Come on. I mean, you're literally watching a stream called Know Nothing Attorney. Like, like them targeting the Southern Poverty Legal Group as being a hate group. Yeah. What was the recent news about Antifa? They were designated a domestic terrorist organization back in September. There's like something in the last week. I don't know why I'm saying they. It's not like they are people. Did anyone say he made it up? I don't know if anybody said he made it up. I didn't say that. He did go to closed daycares. I didn't say he made anything up. I didn't even say that it was fake fraud. I didn't say he was wrong in identifying fraud. No, I'm specific. And it's not like I've committed any of the Nick Shirley quote-unquote reporting to memory, because none of it mattered. Because he identified such a small amount of Medicaid fraud, if any. Then it was used by the federal government to abuse the citizens of Minnesota. Beyond that, the story doesn't really matter to me, so I didn't commit it to memory. The Quality Learning Center had its license closed on January 6, 2026. What was the debate? Wait, sorry, what was the fact? I don't... Aw, poor baby. What was the point of posting the closing date? Like, after the Nick Shirley reporting? When was Nick Shirley? Yeah, the whole Channel 5 thing was only 4 months ago. Yeah, it was December 2025. What? What was the point of posting the closing date? What the fuck? But, I mean, he posted a date that was after the Nick Shirley video. Can't lose a debate if you bail before hearing a rebuttal. Yep. He kind of like, pobrecito. Oh, thank you, Light Spectre, for reminding me of like my first debate video. Love that. Don't run away, pobrecito. Hey, Aliana, what's going on? Happy to be stream dad. The chair keeps moving. Okay. I'm still trying to find what Antifa news came out in the past week. I swear there was something. Did I just imagine it? Do you guys ever have dreams where your brain is trying to figure something out and it's not doing a good job and it just drives you crazy? Had a bit of that last night and it was really pissing me off. Amazing, I had 5 grams of shrooms last night. Hey, all right. Then tried assaulting my friend, not all right, who was having me sleeping over at her house while we were hiking. Well, what kind of assault? Hey, she kicked me in the balls. She kicked you in the balls. Wow. Damn, dude. That's a rough one. I'm glad you're amazing? Was that sarcasm? It's not a great story. U.S. counterterrorism strategy 2026. This was posted 3 hours ago. Well, now hold on. Let's switch over. What do we have here? What have I discovered? Apparently nothing. Oh, there it is. It was fun for me, and it's a funny story. Well, okay. I had a dream where it felt like I was on a school field trip memory, and I got angry that my brain used it as a dream topic, and then I wondered if any of that was actually real or a dream. She didn't appreciate it, considering it stressed her out so much she drank 5 tall boy beers. Whew. Don't admit to crimes in chat. Aliana can just be telling a story. Counterterrorism strategy, stop funding the terrorists. Yeah. So, in case anybody was looking for an update, the Deltarune stuff is coming along nicely. I need to wrap it up so that I can actually make some videos and move on with my life. But it has gotten very, very granular, I could say. Where like now I'm trying to compare like room orientations and shit. And last night my brain started going, well, you know what? What if this room is like that room? And like all the stuff that's in that room is like this. And I'm like, you just made a room up. That's not real. Why did you do that? Stop trying to solve shit that doesn't exist. That's what I did last night. That's how I spent my rest time. It was terrible. A good pamphlet to read. Okay, go for it. She didn't press charges either since she was the one who gave me the shrooms. All right. Well, that's a story. Okay, so we got this counterterrorism strategy book out. I don't know why is the White House publishing the U.S. counterterrorism strategy. I'm a little confused by that. But let's look up Antifa. We'll just Control F Antifa. What's that? Oh, okay. I love you. And Antifa, I guess. You love Antifa? We love Antifa. Do we? Yeah, we hate we hate pho. We're very anti-pho here. No. The soup? I love pho. Oh, okay, pho. Well, pho. We are not anti-pho here. So you're not knows your girlfriend fucks with pho. We love pho. Yeah. We love pho kings and pho queens here. And pho. And pho itself. Do you need more sparkling water, baby? Please, thank you. Because they want to target left-wing people. Shouldn't that be HS? Homeland Security, not the White House. This is the White House's counterterrorism strategy. CIA's document called Analysis of Insurgencies. It talks about how they analyze and label insurgencies in their various levels and the difference between a terrorist and an insurgent. It's interesting. Oh, this is the one that mentions pro-transgender and then says something like, we will kill them all or something. This was posted 3 hours ago. Or it was updated 3 hours ago. I don't know. Buying my first gun for real this time, by the way. I put my first down payment on it in 2 weeks, next Friday. If I didn't already own a gun, I would say that I should really get around to buying one. But nobody who hates me out there should take into account the idea that I don't already own one. That's all I'm saying. But if I didn't own one, I'm really kicking my ass for not already having one. I don't think you're catching me, Aliana. In addition to cartels and Islamist terror groups, our national CT activities will also prioritize the rapid identification and neutralization of violent secular political groups whose ideology is anti-American, radically pro-transgender, and anarchist. Okay, the ideology has to be anti-American and radically pro-transgender and anarchist? We'll use all the tools constitutionally available to us to map them at home, identify their membership, map their ties to international organizations like Antifa, and use law enforcement tools to cripple them operationally before they can maim or kill the innocent. Maim or kill the innocent. Okay. Fascinating. Reading somebody else's quote here. I'm an anti-American transgender anarchist. Woot, woot, woot. Our government considers me a terrorist. I mean, the president already wants me dead because I think that American service members should not follow unlawful orders. So they already got me on that one. Yeah, I'm waiting for them to name the leader of Antifa. Like, yeah, not only is it it's not just an American organization, it's an international organization. So there's somebody at the head of this globalist Antifa organization. That's the only mention of Antifa? Well, that's lame. What else do we have in this document? This is a very short counterterrorism strategy document. When I returned to the White House on January 20th, 2025, 4 years of weakness, failure, surrender, and humiliation under my last administration came to an end. Today our nation is strong, our borders are secure, and the United States is respected all over the world. Ew. As part of my commitment to defending America from all enemies, foreign and domestic, we are once again working to crush the threat of terrorism. Within 43 days, we apprehended the terrorist mastermind of the attack on Abbey Gate in Afghanistan that left 13 American service members dead. In just 1 year, we brought back 106 American hostages from captivity abroad without paying a single dollar to their captors. We designated key chapters of the Muslim Brotherhood as the terrorist groups they have always been. We mobilized the Department of Homeland Security to remove illegal alien criminals. and jihadist sympathizers from our country. We ended the war in Gaza, secured the release of all remaining hostages. I'm sorry, what? You what? Didn't a major publication just do a story on like Israeli rape of Palestinians? Huh? It used to be an actual organization in the 1900s. I mean, Antifa in the USA, its goal was to turn into a movement. It bled into the early 2000s with some cells still existing, but fizzled out as it achieved its goal of becoming a nationwide movement. You would think, this is like Saturday morning cartoons level writing, I don't know how he can think America is respected all across the world. He doesn't. Trump is the king of manifesting. He says stuff until people believe it. He's reached the end of that rope, though. He's discovering that there's a limit to how far you can bullshit your way, because I think he is legitimately having to deal with the fact that he has never had this many people hate him. He thought that he could just keep doing the same thing, but once you reach everyone, literally everyone, then not everyone is going to buy your bullshit. That's why they literally have people whose job it is to, like, find him, like, articles written by publications that will say that things are great, that people love him, people whose job it is to dissuade him from seeing all the hate. I don't know how he can think. An elder anarchist taught me this, because his ego won't let him believe anything. He reached the end of that rope, though, if only. Yeah, like, it's weird. We have a president who, like, people have to perpetuate his alternate reality for him. That's really weird. It's so strange that we live in this age. Wait, hold on. Introduction, good versus bad counterterrorism. What's bad counterterrorism? Oh, Biden counterterrorism. Oh, okay. Should have realized that. I should have seen that coming a mile away. Everything bad was made by Biden. I did that. Motherfuckers be like, 4 more years, shit hurts my head. Got me like 4 more spliffs. Ah. As President Trump stated in the 2025 National Security Strategy, the departments and agencies of the United States government have been granted fearsome powers. These powers must never be abused, whether under the guise of de-radicalization, what? Protecting our democracy, or any other pretext. When and where those powers are abused, abusers must be held accountable. A radical shift is therefore needed in U.S. counterterrorism. I'm sorry. The fearsome powers of the United States government were abused in de-radicalizing? What? Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. The terrorist threat has changed. We face new categories and combinations of violent actors that make the established ways of doing counterterrorism insufficient or obsolete. We face a multiplicity of deadly threats from terror groups and non-state actors, often secretly supported by governments who wish to undermine us. Currently, we face 3 major types of terror groups: narco-terrorists and transnational gangs, legacy Islamist terrorists, and violent left-wing extremists, including anarchists and anti-fascists. They didn't say Antifa. They said we're fighting anti-fascists. What the fuck? Yo. They called that extremist. We can defeat every single one of these groups, but the threat is significant and pervasive. The borderless America created by the Biden administration. Oh, I didn't remember that. Is America spilled over everywhere? So badly exploited by threat actors that during one 12-month period of the previous administration, more Americans died as a result of the illicit drugs flooded into the country by the cartels than all the U.S. servicemen killed in combat since 1945. That is an existential threat that President Trump does not tolerate. Does not tolerate it. Where does it get worse, Maddie? Yo, what? They want to cut off their arms? 161? What's 161? Did I miss something? What? Some days I wish I could go back to having my head in the sand. I mean, there didn't used to be nearly as much that you had to put your head in the sand for. 161 is an alphanumerical dog whistle. Oh, I can count on Aliana for dog whistles. Where's 161? What did I... Oh shit, Charlie Kirk got in here? Our nation has been well served by its intelligence community, which has been mired in old ways of looking at threats, or has been actively weaponized by its leadership as a political tool, whether plotting against conservative Catholics attending traditional mass in Virginia. What? Parents standing up for their children at school board meetings, members of Congress, or President Trump and his associates, the administration will continue to prohibit the IC from being used politically against innocent Americans. As real threats were ignored or underplayed, Americans have witnessed the politically motivated killings of Christians and conservatives committed by violent left-wing extremists, including the assassination of Charlie Kirk by a radical who espoused extreme transgender ideologies. Evidence? Also, that happened under your watch, homie. What the fuck? Do you need help? Okay. Those are not conservative Catholics. Talking about Opus Dei. What case are they talking about? Did I read the last line in the opener? What, like Trump's thing? Oh, geez. Our new U.S. counterterrorism strategy is a return to common sense and peace through strength. As I said after our first successful counterterrorism mission, just days after I was sworn back into office, if you hurt Americans or are planning to hurt Americans, we will find you and we will kill you. I remember when he said that. But they can't... Vox! What do we even know about Charlie Kirk's killer at this point? I remember when... But, okay. But what are terrorists doing to Opus Dei? Oh, okay. Oh my god, you're right, he is quoting Taken. Oh my god. Ah. Two screen captures on September 15, 2025 depicting a U.S. military strike on a Venezuelan drug cartel vessel on its way to the United States. They're just putting their fucking evidence of murder right there on the screen. Yeah, Maddie. We will find you and we will kill you. It's quoting Liam Neeson. Africa. Perhaps the greatest counterterrorism victory of the first Trump administration was the destruction of the physical caliphate of ISIS. What? Am I freaking crazy here? Was okay. That wasn't Africa. Yeah, what the fuck? What the? This is illiterate. This is illiterate. Subsequently, the surviving remnants of the world's most dangerous terrorist group of the modern age were forced to relocate to Africa and Central Asia. Oh, okay. All right. That's a weird way to write your segment on Africa. WMDs. I'm sorry, we will continue to combat illicit fentanyl and its core precursor chemicals as weapons of mass destruction. Oh, God. I forgot that they did that. That's so insane. That's so insane. I mean, I say insane, but it's a good way of doing your fascist policy, but, like, it's insane that it is just happening. Courts don't care, I guess. Oh, I can get AI viewers? Oh, you already got it. Also, isn't ISIS no longer ISIS? They destroyed the caliphate. America First counterterrorism. For the 25th anniversary of the 9/11 terror attacks, America has returned to a common sense and reality-based counterterrorism strategy. President Trump has effected a complete revision of how we defeat threats to America predicated on national sovereignty and civilizational confidence. And the objective is destroying the groups who would kill Americans or hurt our interests as a free nation. This applies to cartels, jihadists, left-wing violent extremists, state actors and state sponsors, or any future terror threat. Under the leadership of President Trump, our CT strategy is one of action and strength. Through the CT strategy, President Trump's administration will always put America first. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So where were we on this shit? Left behind the main story that I was reading about. Civilizational. This is just white superiority. Is it not? I don't know. The machinery of the government should never be weaponized. We're back to the article on Trump paying himself $1.1776 billion of American money. The machinery of government should never be weaponized against any American, and it is the department's intention to make right the wrongs that were previously done while ensuring this never happens again. As part of this settlement, we are setting up a lawful process for victims of lawfare and weaponization to be heard and seek redress. The agreement was signed by Stanley Woodward, the Associate Attorney General and number 3 official at the Justice Department. Woodward represented January 6 defendants as well as many Trump allies who came under scrutiny for their efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Blah, 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 blah. Upon the filing of this notice, no judicial analysis is appropriate, Trump's lawyers said in a brief filing on Monday requesting dismissal of the suit. What? Trying to hide this deal from the courts is corruption in plain sight. Trump is funneling taxpayer dollars to his political allies, and we will hold him accountable and block this billion-dollar giveaway at a billions dollar giveaway at a time when Americans are already squeezed by inflation. Settlement comes after the U.S. District Judge Kathleen Williams, a Barack Obama appointee overseeing the case, appointed a group of lawyers to advise her on whether there was sufficient controversy in the case to proceed. Those attorneys filed their brief last week and noted that there were numerous potential defenses the Justice Department could offer to push back against Trump's claims, several of which they were asserting in other cases involving the leak of IRS records. There is reason to believe that the president is, in fact, exercising his control over the defendants in this litigation, they wrote. No, what? Williams dismissed the case on Monday evening, saying the notice of dismissal that Trump's lawyers filed stripped her of jurisdiction in the case. She did note that the agreement that Trump and his administration had reached was not a formal settlement. Because the notice does not reference any settlement or include a stipulation of settlement, there is no settlement of record. Right, so this is unenforceable as people pointed out, once the money's gone, it's gone. But they can no longer do anything with this in 3 years. Watchdog groups pledged they would challenge the legality of any settlement. Any settlement would be outrageously unethical and likely a violation of the Constitution's Domestic Emoluments Clause. Why are we still making that argument? Donald Sherman, the president and chief executive of Citizens for not crew again. Guys. It isn't... wasn't one of the huge... cases, I'm trying to remember the name, I'm trying to remember one of the there's a legal term for one of their requirements for there to be a lawsuit. Your harm has to be specific to individuals. You have to be able to point to who was harmed how. And so one way that standing, but there are specific requirements for standing. Here, I can find the terms. Okay, I remembered the term right. Particularization. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, people posting stuff.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you are looking for ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I have acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
There we go. Thank you for that, Vox. Maddie, are you talking about the LSAT stuff? Yeah, I just think the problem Crew's going to have here is, I'm worried they're going to have here, is that they're not going to be able to point to anybody who was specifically harmed by the American government giving money away. Yeah, this is about necessary and sufficient conditions, right, Maddie? What law enforcement officers that were harmed? Right, but what does that have to do with... What does that have to do with this fund? Crew's not going to be able to sue about the DOJ fund for the law enforcement officers on January 6th. Isn't this fund about, specifically about quote-unquote targets of IRS abuse? I think the solution to this one is just impeachment. That's it. I mean, save some creative lawyering. Also, good God, the new regs around IRS data are insane. It's going to apply to higher ed institutions. So the institution I work for is about to undergo a multi-million-dollar project to audit all of our systems to verify where things are and if we need to add additional security measures or not. The money would be distributed at January 6thers. Where did it say that? I mean, if Crew is saying that it's a violation of the emoluments clause, then that kind of signals that they have a weak case. Because they just released new regs that covers data previously not considered IRS data. Like what? Well, this has been a fun... Okay, right, we're back to this one. The addendum. The inclusion only adds to mounting scrutiny of the wider agreement reached on Tuesday. The arrangement was announced after Trump said he was dropping a $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS. IRS officials recommended fighting Trump's lawsuit, but the agency decided to settle it anyway, raising further questions about improper interference. I don't like that they're using the word settle. I don't like that. It doesn't make sense to me. Tuesday amendment was released shortly after Blanche testified in a Senate hearing in which Democrats harshly criticized the agreement. This is an outrageous, unprecedented slush fund that you set up, said Chris Van Hollen. Pressed by Democrats on whether those convicted of assaulting police officers on January 6th would be able to obtain money from the fund. I see. Blanche said there were no limitations on who could seek a claim from the fund. I need a reminder of what's the actual language for what the fund is for. He also said neither Trump personally nor his sons would receive compensation, though it is unclear from the agreement whether they could file a claim. The text of the agreement released on Monday night says the fund will produce quarterly confidential reports to the Attorney General on amounts paid out by the fund and to whom. Despite that confidentiality provision, Bland said on Tuesday, there's accountability that the commission has a quarterly report has to come to the Attorney General, which will certainly be public. Victims of lawfare and weaponization. Okay, let's just look it up. Let's see what the DOJ has to say about it. Because, you know, why the fuck not, I guess. Nothing means anything today these days anyway. The concept of law is meaningless. Oh, what's this? Oh, okay. I'll read your article, Maddie. The massive fund would give January 6 rioters pardoned by Trump a mechanism to seek taxpayer payouts for their claims of government overreach. So it's for victims of government weaponization. I see. It only has to make sense if you are a person who likes when things make sense. No limitations, including those who later went on to commit violent crimes. Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, this is never going to people who could actually use more money. That's ridiculous. What are we supposed to do? Give money to everybody who needs money? Come on. Don't be ridiculous. Liz Oyer did a vid on it too. Welcome in, little Donnie Fund. Jesus. I still don't see how you can have a particularized injury on this one. Basically, what we're watching right now, if this isn't enough, if this is not enough, and I don't think it is enough, then MAGA is fine with Donald Trump just robbing the country. That's it. Period. They don't even care if their guy robs them blind. There are no standards anymore. At least on their side. I don't see how creating the fund could possibly be any kind of judicial decision. It's not. Frank, big time, the executive branch is doing it all on its own. The DOJ is just inventing a fund and then giving money to who they want to under the guise of an official process. It's just robbery. Actually, technically it's not robbery because for robbery you have to break into an enclosure in order to commit a different crime. That's what robbery is. Might be a dwelling. It probably depends on the state. Yeah, this is white collar crime. There's nothing judicial involved. Crime against the judiciary. Okay, guys, I am going to be right back. I need to take a quick bio break. Use corporate speak. Wow. Oh, no. Go over here. Gross. I hate humans. Ugh. Alright, be right back. Ah. Yep. Frank Big Time. I can imagine looking at this from an insane right-wing point of view where I really did think there was governmental overreach and I wanted compensation for the victims. I can get there, just barely, but I can't see how a judge could just create an institution for it. It would have to be legislative, right? No, the judge didn't do this, Frank Big Time. The judge didn't. The judge had no part in it. Technically, it does have to be legislative, but I imagine this. But I imagine this is coming out of like the DOJ budget, or from dollars reclaimed by, or like, I don't know, something got, like, the executive branch got from performing executive activities. Yeah, quote unquote settled. Thank you for putting it in quotes, Maddie. There was no settlement here. Yeah. Somebody figured it out. Just take executive dollars, create a prima facie reason to just give money to people, claim there's a process, then nobody has to substantiate the process. Supposedly we'll get a quarterly report. And it says like it's a confidential report, so I don't know. Boy, this is depressing. All right, what else did I want to cover? Oh boy, Tina Peters. Okay. Let's see, CNN fact check. What? Colorado governor's misleading rationale for freeing election denier Tina Peters. Oh boy, come on. I hate that these websites do that, where the like headline is massive compared to the actual width of the article. I don't understand it. Somebody's going to come out against Polis? What do you mean? Colorado Governor Jared Polis justified his decision to release election denier Tina Peters from prison with a series of false and misleading claims, inaccurately distancing her case from efforts to undermine the 2020 election. The former Mesa County clerk is set to be freed from state prison in 2 weeks after Polis's commutation cut her sentence in half. A jury convicted Peters of conspiring with allies of President Donald Trump to breach voting systems in her county in 2021 in hopes of proving his 2020 fraud claims. Had zero reason to do this. A term-limited Democrat? What the fuck? Yikes. Yikes, what's happening? He justified his decision in a series of press interviews, including with CNN's Caitlin Collins, where he said the new 4.5-year sentence was tough but fair. He needed to effectively re-sentence her, Polis told local affiliates KCNC in light of a recent ruling from the Colorado Court of Appeals that threw out her original 9-year sentence. The appeals court said the trial judge improperly based part of the punishment on Peters' protected speech about elections. Much of Polis's rationale related to these First Amendment concerns. He said Peters holds crazy and dangerous beliefs about the 2020 election, but that she deserves a reprieve because she was unfairly punished for expressing them. Still, the commutation drew bipartisan blowback from election officials and prosecutors. The district attorney who took Peters to trial said Polis misunderstood key facts, and Colorado's attorney general said the governor's rationale was mind-boggling and wrong as a matter of basic justice. It's common for leaders to make false claims while justifying controversial clemency decisions. Trump did this during the Russia probe in his first term, and former President Joe Biden did so after pardoning his son in 2024. Peters conspired with associates of MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell, a notorious election denier who was at the time trying to prove that the 2020 election was rigged. She was specifically trying to prove that the vote count from 2020 was wrong, said Rubenstein, a Republican, but she was looking for evidence with the machines systematically that the 2020 election results were invalid. Well, that's a confusing sentence. Don't think it's a valid sentence. The appeals ruling that Polis touted also made clear that Peters' case was related to 2020. The ruling noted that Peters attended official meetings in 2021 about alleged 2020 election fraud, and that the evidence showed that she wanted to help Lindell's allies substantiate a theory of election fraud. Her offense was not her belief, however misguided the trial court deemed it to be, in the existence of such election fraud. It was her deceitful actions in her attempt to gather evidence of such fraud. Yeah. Yeah. Just in unauthorized access to voting systems. All right. Then, last bit of news I wanted to go over, unless somebody's got, read the second paragraph at least. All right. Please don't hurt me again, Maddie. As if you could. In the days following her order to turn off the surveillance cameras, Peters allowed Conan Hayes, co-founder of the clothing company RVCA and proponent of QAnon conspiracy theories, to access the room where Mesa County's electronic voting machines were stored and to copy sensitive information from those machines. Days later, Peters allowed Hayes to be present for a software update to the voting machines and to record video of the update taking place. Hey, let's not forget that the Dominion voting machines were bought. Isn't that lovely? Where that information went, God knows. Yeah. Peters' chief aide, former deputy clerk Belinda Nisley, described Hayes as a mystery man. What the fuck? And said that Peters told her she brought him into access files from the voting machines because Peters was afraid the Colorado Secretary of State's office was going to remove them. What? During the time Hayes was... we can all just justify anything with conspiracy theories. During the time Hayes was present, he used a staff access badge for Gerald Wood, and according to Griswold, Peters misled her staff by saying Wood was an employee and had been background checked. Phone records confirmed that Hayes had traveled to the area during the time of the software update. His hotel room was paid for by Sharona Bishop, then campaign manager for Boebert. Peters later said that she, Bishop Hayes, and U.S. Representative Lauren Boebert had dinner together on May 24th. God damn. All the rats on the ship. No thank you. All right, let's move on to cover. Where is it? Where do I have it? Nope. There. Back to Calais. I said that we would read The Descent, so we're going to read The Descent. Maddie told me we were going to read The Descent, so I'm going to read The Descent. Bam, bam. All right, Kagan, Sotomayor, and Jackson dissenting. What little sanity there is left. Justice Kagan, with whom Justice Sotomayor and Justice Jackson joined dissenting, consider the story of a hypothetical congressional district in a hypothetical state subjected to a redistricting scheme. The example is admittedly stylized, but in its essence simulates the dispute before us and clarifies the immense issues at stake. The district, let's say, is a single county in the shape of a near-perfect circle, sitting in the middle of a rectangular state. The state is one with a long history of virulent racial discrimination and its many effects, including in residential segregation and political division, remain significant even today. The population of the Circle District is 90% black. The rest of the state, divided into 5 surrounding districts, is 90% white, and voting throughout all those districts is racially polarized. Black residents vote heavily for Democratic candidates, while white residents vote heavily for Republicans. The Circle District thus enables the state's black community to elect a representative of its choice whom no neighboring community would put in office. But that arrangement, in this not-so-hypothetical, is not to last. The state legislature decides to eliminate the Circle District, slicing it into 6 pie pieces and allocating one each to 6 new, still solidly white congressional districts. The state's black voters are now widely dispersed, and unlike the state's white voters, lack any ability to elect a representative of their choice. Election after election, black citizens' votes are, by every practical measure, wasted. That is racial vote dilution in its most classic form. Something very real, which southern states are doing, because racism is ruining America, is still very alive in the Confederate States, at least. There has been no change in the South. A minority community that is cohesive in its geography and politics alike, and that faces continued adversity from racial division, is split. Cracked is the usual term, so that it loses all its electoral influence. Members of the racial minority can still go to the polls and cast a ballot. But given the state's racially polarized voting, they cannot hope, in the way the state's white citizens can, to elect a person whom they think will represent their interests. Their votes matter less than others do. They translate into less political voice. Or as this court put it recently, the cracking makes a minority vote unequal to a vote by a non-minority voter. 2023. And because that is so, Congress in the Voting Rights Act made the practice illegal. Section 2 of that act guarantees that members of every racial group have an equal opportunity to elect representatives of their choice. Let's get Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act real quick. Well, I don't want to read what the DOJ has to say about the Voting Rights Act. There we go. That's better. No voting qualification or prerequisite to voting or standard practice or procedure shall be imposed or applied by any state or political subdivision in a manner which results in a denial or abridgment of the right of any citizen in the United States to vote on account of race or color, or in contravention of the guarantees set forth in Section 1973B. Violation of subsection A of this section. Oh, well, that's it. That's it. Race or color. God, it's pretty blatant. It's pretty obviously in there. Section 2 of that act guarantees that members of every racial group have an equal opportunity to elect representatives of their choice. That promise arose from a far too prominent part of this nation's history. Even after the 15th Amendment banned racial discrimination in voting, state officials routinely deprived African Americans of their voting rights. Through a seemingly boundless array of mechanisms, most of them facially race-neutral, and among them the drawing of district lines, states either prevented black citizens from casting ballots or ensured that their votes would count for next to nothing. The Voting Rights Act was meant as the corrective, and when this court construed it too narrowly, insisting that a person suing under Section 2 had to prove discriminatory intent, Congress amended the law so that it turned solely on discriminatory effects. Under that revised version, a person has a good Section 2 claim if the challenged state action, in the totality of circumstances, results in an electoral system not equally open to members of his racial group, meaning a system giving those citizens less opportunity to participate in the political process and to elect representatives of their choice. And for 40 years now, this court has recognized that language to encompass districting decisions that, in the way illustrated above, result in vote dilution, the minimizing of minority voters' ability to elect their preferred candidates. But no longer. Under the court's new view of Section 2, a state can, without legal consequence, systematically dilute minority citizens' voting power. Of course, the majority does not announce today's holding that way. Its opinion is understated, even antiseptic. The majority claims only to be updating our Section 2 law as though through a few technical tweaks. But in fact, those updates eviscerate the law so that it will not remedy even the classic example of vote dilution given above. Without a basis in Section 2's text or the Constitution, the majority formulates new proof requirements for plaintiffs alleging vote dilution. Those demands meant to disentangle race from politics. That's not what the law says, folks. That's not what the law says. If anything, the intent was to make states not be allowed to involve race in politics by removing the power of certain races from voting. Boy. Like, it's so baffling. It's so baffling. By disentangling race from politics, we are removing our own power to stop state governments from putting race in politics. What the fuck are you doing? Right. That was the other thing you linked, and I forgot to go back to it. There we go. The John Roberts literacy test. Like, it's just insane that, like, I constantly have to wonder, it always bothers me. Like, do these people think that they have to think that the days of sanity will never return? That has to be what they think. Otherwise, they know that their name is going to be raked through the mud for eternity by sane people teaching history. They have to know that. He can't be that stupid. He's a Supreme Court justice. He can't be that dumb. And it was before the age of Trump appointments. Hearing you read these things is depressing me. It reminds me of the start of COVID. Oh, God. Maybe humanity just doesn't deserve good things. No, they do think they won. No, it's not a matter of whether they won. They have to think that sane times will never return. Never. Look at Laura Loomer's Twitter post for 5 seconds. What? Can you link me? Can you send the link for the Twitter post? Like, it's weird to me to think that, like, somebody who could, like, be self-important and self-absorbed enough to reach the level of a Supreme Court justice wouldn't care about being, like, so what's good, like, bashed for the rest of history. He's going to be an embarrassment. You're not looking. Am I looking at the video she posted? But right now, his rule is law, Maddie. There will come a day when his rule will no longer be law, and then he'll just be an embarrassment. That'll be it. That'll be it. It's weird to me that people wouldn't care about that. I'm self-conscious enough as it is to think that I could do something to be one of the most embarrassing Supreme Court justices of all time. I know he is, Maddie, but right now he can sit on his high horse and like be like, oh, look at me. All right. Look at my, like, I tore down protection for black voters. Yay. He's accomplished right now. Still, he's embarrassing, but he's accomplished. There will come a time when those accomplishments will amount to nothing, and just what he tried to do will be what lasts.
Court Justice Reed. Apparently a lot faster than I thought humanly possible. This week in Allen versus Milligan, the plaintiffs filed 107 pages of briefing, 26,000 words, about half a paperback novel. The deadline was 5 p.m. Monday, and at 5:38 p.m., just 38 minutes later, the Supreme Court issued it.
Can you stop editing like this? I hate this. What's up, Ecriel? Welcome in. Maybe he's secure knowing he does can make him more embarrassing than Thomas. Oh, knowing nothing he does can make him more embarrassing than Thomas. I don't know, man. Saying we're going to disentangle race from politics so that race can be a predominant feature of politics in the South is pretty fucking embarrassing. Like, just reinstating Jim Crow. Wow.
Order letting Alabama gerrymander its
Supreme Court ends the order requiring Alabama to have... Yeah, okay.
congressional map in the middle of an election. Now, the average adult reads about 240 words per minute. This stack would take a normal person about 2 hours. But we're supposed to believe 9 justices read every page, weighed every argument.
That's a pretty fast reading of that, I think.
Conferred with each other, voted 6-3, and wrote a 5-page dissent in about the time it takes to watch an episode of Night Court. Or they gave this stack of paper the same consideration that most of us give to the terms of service on our phones. Last week, Chief Justice John Roberts complained that people see the court as political actors. He said that's not an accurate understanding of...
What do you mean you were trying to find it? You sent it in the Discord. Congratulations, I found it for you. There it is in the Discord.
What they do. Well, Chief, you may think you're a world champion speed reader, but we're not fooled. Alabama has seen this arrangement before. A man at a courthouse window, a card with a question on it, a public official deciding all by himself whether your answer is good enough for you to take part in American democracy. And good luck arguing with him if he says no. Call it the John Roberts literacy test. Just like under Jim Crow, the answer has no effect on the outcome, and that man made up his mind before anybody got here. How fast...
Oof. Well, it's curious, Ecriel. Is there any position you would hold that you would think anybody would consider to be anti-trans? It's probably an easier way of approaching this. It sounds like you have something in mind that you think someone would think is an opinion you hold that is anti-trans. Depends on the definition. Some people consider it doesn't depend on the definition. I'm asking you what you would think someone would consider your opinion to be. Yeah, what is an opinion you hold that you think someone might label as anti-trans? All right, where were we? Those demands meant to disentangle race from politics leverage two features of modern political life: that racial identity and party preference are often linked, and that politicians have free rein to adopt partisan gerrymanders. The first facts say that in a given area, black voters mainly support Democrats and white voters Republicans, was viewed before today as practically an element of a vote dilution claim, because it indicates that a minority group is politically cohesive enough to elect a preferred representative, but will be outvoted by the majority bloc. The second fact, the result of a prior mistake by this court, is something every day to regret, not to use as an excuse for stripping minority citizens of their voting rights. But under the majority's new test, when those two facts coexist, which is almost everywhere Section 2 still has purchase, a plaintiff cannot prevail by showing that a redistricting resulted in the dilution of minority voting power. Rather, a plaintiff will have to show, contrary to Section 2's clear text and design, that the legislators were motivated by a discriminatory purpose. And that, as Section 2's drafters knew, is well nigh impossible. Pro-LGBTQ ideology. Oh, what does that even mean? What is pro-LGBTQ ideology? Some understand nuances. You're still avoiding the question, Acriel, of what is an opinion you have that you think some may consider anti-trans? Okay, Ecriel, do you support gender-affirming care for minors? Is that more Thai tea? Where did it come from? I have no idea. Somebody's just dropping Thai teas off at our house. No, you don't support gender-affirming care for minors. So you support gender-abusive care for minors, then? You don't care much about gender. So you're anti-science, then? What?
You okay?
Yes. Ecriel, how about we chat? You want to come up in the Discord and discuss? I don't know why you would say that you're not big on gender when you came in here to ask about it. I mean, that's the alternative, Ecriel. You're either affirming their gender or you're abusing them on the basis of gender. Like, you would then be giving them care intentionally in opposition of their gender. You just said that you're not big on it and you don't care about it, but that's what you wanted to ask about. Yeah, if you don't care, why do you care? Ekriel, so would you vote for someone who is in favor of policy that would give gender affirming care to kids? I don't think you know what caring means. Would you vote for someone that would promote policy giving gender affirming care to kids? The recommended procedures for care based on someone's gender, as recommended by psychiatrists, therapists, endocrinologists, pediatricians, start with consultation, therapy, move on to puberty blockers, eventually move on to possibly top surgery when it got to, 17, 18? I don't give a shit what some countries do. What is it based on? No, whether something... Okay, in America... Wait, let's go to the science. Science doesn't disagree on this. Some countries' politicians disagree on this. That's not what a difference in science. Ekriel, come up in Discord and let's chat. Otherwise, I'm going to keep reading the dissent here. Yeah, right? Well, to be fair, Maddie, Calais and the trans rights issue is up on the screen at the same time. But I don't know why that would be the one that they choose to talk about when they don't care about it. Well, if you don't think supporting your views can be productive, I don't know why you hold them. You also didn't answer the question about whether you would vote for somebody that supports gender affirming care. So you care. Okay. Man, why are you lying about your positions on gender affirming care? Or on gender? Well, I think we would just come right back around to, if I started asking you questions about why you don't vote, I think we would come back around to, or I could ask other questions about, I think you care. It seems pretty evident. Okay, Ekriel, if you ran the world, you would be okay with parents getting their kids gender affirming care? Why does it depend? Don't you not care? Right, so you care. I don't know why you lie about these things. It's weird. Where did my, where'd my Calais opinion go? No, nobody asked about what you would do. It's whether you would allow other people to live their lives, and you wouldn't, so you care. And I'm sure you have actually no issues with interfering with natural development. You have no issues with braces. So that's not what you care about. Dude, what the fuck happened to my window here? God damn. OBS just freaked out. Right, and you said that you would interfere with parents' decisions. That's you caring. You wouldn't let people just live their lives. It's weird, honestly. Fucking weird. Leave people alone. What's subjective? That it's weird? Leave people alone. What the hell? If you don't care, I don't see why you're not leaving it alone. Something's weird here. Why would a person who doesn't care about things not leave people the fuck alone about those things? Thank you. There we go. We're past voting. I asked if you ran the world. You would fuck with people's lives. No. You don't dictate who marries who. So why would you dictate how parents raise their kids? I'm not saying you don't fuck with anything. Fuck with things you care about. But you say you don't care about it, but you would also prevent parents from getting their kids the health care that they need. I would have to care a lot, and for some reason, to stop people from getting recommended health care. I think you would find it pretty weird if people felt as strongly as you do about stopping kids from getting braces. No, the science doesn't disagree, Ekriel. Would you like to point me to a study where it differs? Yeah, thank you, Athena. Like I said, if you're not for gender-affirming care, you're for gender-abusive care. It's the alternative. Do I care about everything that I ask questions about? I have to at least care enough to ask questions. But do I care about everything that I would pass laws to prevent people from taking actions? Yeah, I would have to care about that, yes. Why are you on asking questions when we're talking about dictating what people can and can't do? We have moved on from asking questions to dictating what people can and can't do. Why would you dictate what someone can't do? Are you scared of this question? What's the problem? Your feelings are so nuanced. Your feelings that like lack care are so nuanced. Bullshit. You care, and it's fucking weird. I mean, you could refute it. You could explain to me how you don't care, but also would dictate what people can't do. You could also get in Discord chat. It wouldn't be that hard to explain. Imagine telling kids they couldn't have glasses. If I were in charge of the country, I would forbid people from eating mixes of beef and dairy in the same product. I don't care about it, but I would still use the power of my government to stop them. I mean, yeah, I don't care about that. It's a weird thing to care about. Like, two completely unrelated things. Why would I care about that? But fuck people who do it. Not letting them do it. Yeah, well then substantiate that. Puberty blockers are extremely well researched. How much more research do you think puberty blockers need? And how do you know anything about how much it's been researched if you don't care? How am I to think that you know anything about what research has been done? I haven't moved off of caring. You are saying that you would interfere with people's right to do things. You better have a fucking reason. Frank Big Time, thank you for the use of gender abusive care. I love that. Ecriel over here is like, I don't care how much research has shown that the most effective way of helping children with that are going through body dysmorphia is gender affirming care. I don't care if that's what the research shows. Let's do something else until later. Gender dysphoria. Body dysmorphia. Yeah, no, gender dysphoria. Sorry, got my mental conditions confused there. Yeah. So like the debate topic says, Ecriel, maybe you should just reacquaint yourself with the idea that there's shit you don't know about. And maybe you should just stop caring about things that you don't know shit about. Well, also, I now know what your personal opinion is about whether or not people should be stopped from doing things. That's where we're at now. Well, I have since answered it, Ekriel. I've specifically talked about gender affirming care for kids. Nice try, though. No, Maddie, they did not accept that they care. They do. They're weirdly trying not to. Yeah, it's the answer for like not substantiating their position. I have a position, but I don't want to provide any backup for it because I don't care, right? Should rethink how you form your opinions on things. To establish a national policy against the recommendations of science is caring. Yeah, absolutely. What? It's fun to tease that one out. Today's ruling is part of a set. For over a decade, this court has had its sights set on the Voting Rights Act. In 2013, the court made a nullity of Section 5, the provision of the act enabling the Department of Justice to review and block new voting rules, including redistrictings, in jurisdictions with a history of voter suppression. See Shelby County. Congress had recently, and after a lengthy study, reauthorized that pre-clearance mechanism. If you have a position on whether children who are trans and are steadfast that they're trans should access the care they need, congratulations, you do in fact care. I mean, let's be clear. At least you care in the way that matters. And that's the care that makes it so that you interfere with people's lives. That's the amount you care. If you don't want to call that care, I don't give a shit. You are doing the thing that is the problem. Congress had recently, and after a lengthy study, reauthorized that pre-clearance mechanism. It found the scheme is still essential to counter the protean techniques states can use to prevent minorities from exercising their fair share of political influence. But this court thought it knew better. Things have changed dramatically, the court explained, ignoring that whether things had changed dramatically enough to make the law dispensable was a question better left to its democratically accountable authors. Not surprisingly, a flood of discriminatory voting laws followed, and now only Section 2 stood in the gap. You think it's a justified thing to do, though, Ekriel? Because you would do it yourself. Yeah, probably leans on one side or the other of a 50-50 split. Nah, Athena, you're asking them to think too hard. They want to avoid critical thinking. That is, yeah, they've made that clear. Yeah, you sure are making people work real hard to figure out what it is that you think. I mean, I guess I could try one more time. Ekriel, do you think it's okay for a government to prevent parents from getting the gender-affirming care that science recommends their child have? Didn't know I was gonna have to, draft fucking deposition questions here. Who cares what you think about the science, though? The science is pretty clear. If scientists agreed with the scientists, then we should listen to the scientists and not the random fucking dude who doesn't know shit, right? Right, right. Some layperson on Twitch. Oh, right, Ekriel. Can you find me that scientific study that disagrees on the recommended treatment for gender dysphoria? I'll wait. I mean, whether gender exists, Athena, isn't even a question. Wait, hold on. Ekriel, gender exists, right? I can go back to my first debate ever on you believe in gender, yes you do. Like money, right, Ekriel? Money exists. Do names exist? Let's stick with names. Do names exist? Right. Damn, it's thundering like crazy out there. Great. You know, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of science on dreams. There's even some science on ideologies. It's funny how when things exist among people, you can study them. I can see all these things are neutral. What do you mean neutral? What does that fucking mean? For what reason would you probably interfere with parents getting their kids recommended healthcare? Yeah, I don't see the... Yeah. Not surprisingly, a flood of discriminatory voting laws followed, and now only Section 2 stood in the gap. In 2021, the court did half what was needed to raise that Section 2. Section 2 prohibits not only vote-diluting districting plans, but also discriminatory burdens on the casting of ballots. In a suit involving the latter type of law, the court invented a new legal standard making Section 2 useless, on the theory that the statute as written was too radical. God, you gotta love conservatives. They'll just fucking make up usages of words. Since the court ruled, not a single Section 2 suit has successfully challenged such a restriction on voting, however discriminatory in operation. I don't think it has to be done. You can identify with whatever. You can have whatever identity without changing your body as a kid. So, Ekriel, you're going to force a puberty on them? Why are you forcing puberty on kids? It's gross. A kid wants puberty A, and Ecriel goes, no, child, you will have puberty B. Because I know what puberty you need better. I'm very involved in your puberty, child, says Ecriel. And finally, today, the last piece. Section 2 has applied to redistricting. No, child, you gotta develop as you should, just like you... What is should, Ecriel? I thought you didn't care. That's very confusing. What do you mean should? Why should a child go through the puberty you want them to? So you're opposed to glasses, right? You're opposed to braces? You're opposed to cancer treatment? Yeah, it's funny how you reference things that have been proven to do harm to you, which is not what gender affirming care has done. Do you wear shoes? I thought this guy didn't care. Suddenly natural is better. Obviously different. Now hold on. Oh, no. Hold on. Don't run away on this. Don't run away on this. How are they obviously different? Can you explain it to me? How is not letting a child have cancer treatment different from not letting a child have gender affirming care like puberty blockers? Don't be a fucking baby about it. Also, just like somebody like Ecriel to claim that somebody's bad faith when they're running away from answering questions. Nuh-uh, you're bad faith. Why would I have this argument when you're bad faith? Pobrecito. The last and surely the hardest, for just 3 terms ago, the court upheld a vote dilution challenge to a districting map in a case much like this one, preserving Section 2 as a tool to prevent racially discriminatory redistricting. We declined to adopt, the court said then, an interpretation of Section 2 that would revise and reformulate our Section 2 jurisprudence of nearly 40 years. Damn sparkling water. Nothing has changed in the 3 years since, yet today the majority does revise and reformulate and destroy. It avails itself again of the tools used before to dismantle the act, untenable readings of statutory text, made up and impossible to meet evidentiary requirements, disregard for precedent, and disdain for congressional judgment. And in that way, it greenlights redistricting plans that will disable minority communities. In Louisiana... Oh, spicy? Did we get spicy? Oh, they ad hom me? Somebody can't defend their position. Now I'm curious. I want to know what happened. Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't know why I can't open it. Hmm. Oh, well, they're gone now. Pobrecito. Poor baby. Well, we're on pause now. While I can figure out how I can see removed messages. Yeah, sure. You can PM it to me. Well, I can't see their name anywhere. Okay. Wow, this guy can't fucking think, can he? Mod tools. Fuck it. Okay, screw it. Alright. Is there a stopping place we can get to? Yeah, we'll just get right there. We'll call it a stream. It avails itself again of the tools used before to dismantle the act. Untenable readings of statutory text, made up impossible to meet evidentiary standards, disregard for precedent, and disdain for congressional judgment. And in that way, it greenlights redistricting plans that will disable minority communities in Louisiana and across the nation from electing, as majority communities can, representatives of their choice. What if the districts in which minority citizens exercising voting power are sliced up, and the pieces appended to districts in which they can play no meaningful role? The majority tells us that the inability to make out a Section 2 claim will just be a mark of the nation's progress, and therefore cause for celebration. I dissent. The Voting Rights Act is, or now more accurately was, one of the most consequential, efficacious, and amply justified exercises of federal legislative power in our nation's history, Shelby County. It was born of the literal blood of Union soldiers and civil rights marchers. It ushered in awe-inspiring change, bringing this nation closer to fulfilling the ideals of democracy and racial equality. And it has been repeatedly and overwhelmingly reauthorized by the people's representatives in Congress. Only they have the right to say it is no longer needed, not the members of this court. I dissent, then, from this latest chapter in the majority's now completed demolition of the Voting Rights Act. Yeah, it's fucking embarrassing for justices to say that they have the right to decide when a law is or isn't needed anymore. No, it was a quote from Justice Ginsburg in the dissent. All right, so in reading this, we will pick up with section 1 later. Sorry it's taking a little while, but I do so enjoy pointing out that people don't know jack shit about trans rights or science. Or to point out that they are frauds themselves and can't own up to caring about shit they shouldn't care about. Ekriel is the type of person that is abusing this country's children, forcing on them puberties that they don't want for some reason. Anyway, I'm Know Nothing attorney. I know nothing, so you can too. And as always, I'm proud of you. I don't need to know you for that to be real. It's true, and you deserve to hear it. If only because life is hard. It's always been hard, and it always will be hard. But the way you face each and every single day, the way you do, is remarkable. So stay remarkable. And until next time, which will be next Wednesday, let's find, unless I announce another one, let's find someone to raid, maybe? Ooh. Man, that Ekriel guy was embarrassing, huh? Oh, no, I need my dashboard. Thank you. No, not that. Aristotle. Aight. Let's go. Maddie's recommendation always stands. He's a philosopher. Okay. All right, we jumping in. Y'all have a good night.
I love, and I want them here more than trolls. So yeah. Marissa says, I can't speak with my husband in Chinese. It's too weird. It's a strange thing, right? Know Nothing attorney, what's up? Long time no see. Long time no see. It's good to see you. Maddie, how's it going? It is a W raid. I agree. That's more cultural than linguistic, Gramps. Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm not someone who holds a very strong thesis with respect to linguistic relativism, in the sense that I think that there is a type of deep cultural loss whenever we lose languages. I don't know that we lose kind of like these really deep scientific or perspectival kind of like ways of seeing the world or something like that. I don't know about that. I mean, I'm open to that, but it just seems like it's kind of like different kinds of different tints on a lens, right? Fundamentally, you see the same thing, but it does color it in a certain way. I think that's kind of like what languages do to our thought.